Support for Sportspage is provided by First Central Bank, full-service banking from 6 locations in Warrensburg, Holden, Higginsville, and Odessa. More information is available on their Facebook page or at the website firstcentral.net. Member FDIC. By the University Store. The University Store is the official headquarters for Mules and Jenny's emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store, located on the lower floor of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. By Parker's Supermarket and Pharmacy, a home-owned and operated store that listens to its customers. Whether it's a hypoallergenic formula or a new exotic vegetable, Parker strives to serve the unique needs of the area. The mission at Parker's is to make grocery shopping a welcoming experience. And promotional support for Sportspage is provided by 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics. Coming up next on the season debut of the Central Missouri Sportspage, we'll chat with Mules football coach Jim Sabota about his team's big win over number 3 Northwest Missouri last week. And we'll look ahead to this week's conference contest at Lindenwood. We'll also talk UCM volleyball with the head coach of the 8th-ranked Jennies, Flip Piontek. His defending MIAA and regional champions are 9 games into a season filled with new faces in key places. In our Sportspage Student Athlete Spotlights, we'll get to know Mules senior defensive end David Bax from Jefferson City Helias and Jenny's senior All-American middle hitter Brady Peniston. So stay tuned. An action-packed hour of Mules and Jenny sports comes your way next in our season opening edition of Sportspage. Hello again, everybody, and thanks for watching the season debut of the University of Central Missouri Sportspage. I'm Sean Jones, and joining me to kick off a new season of Sportspage is Mules football coach Jim Sabota. Coach Sabota, welcome back.
Hey, Sean. Glad to be here.
Well, 2 tough weeks for Mules football. Number 18, Missouri Western. Number 3, Northwest Missouri. All in all, facing the toughest competition in the country with a lot of new faces. Pretty good start for Mules football.
Good start. In reality, we've had a kind of a bad half, but other than that, we've played some good football so far.
Well, your team showed a lot of improvement, too, from week 1 to week 2. In week 1, in a 38-26 loss at Missouri Western against a veteran Griffin team, you made some key mistakes. They turned into points. They won the game. Last week in the 31-21 victory over Northwest Missouri, you didn't make those mistakes. I hope we see that continued crescendo of improvement because it was awfully good from week 1 to week 2.
It really was, and we were proud of the kids and had a good focused week of practice. We tried to emphasize the second half of the Missouri Western loss, where I really was impressed with how they played and hung in there and really had a chance to win it at the end there if a few things would have gone our way.
Well, you look back at Saturday, and we'll take a look at the highlights in a moment, but of your 4 touchdowns, 3 are scored by sophomores, 1 by a junior. The 4 touchdown passes are from a junior. A redshirt freshman has a key interception in the game, and the list goes on. That's not to take anything away from some outstanding seniors in this program that are leading the way, but it's nice to see your goal, your vision of building this program with young guys come to fruition with a big win on Saturday.
It was, and those kids, they played like veterans on Saturday, and they, like I said, it came down to their preparation, and we wanted to come out. We knew it was going to be a big crowd and a great day to play football, and a lot of things going on, and we'd like our players to thrive in that, and they sure did. Made a lot of big plays out there.
Well, you mentioned it was Military Appreciation Day. We had a lot of great folks from the Missouri National Guard here as well. It was Get the Red Out. There was a street fair before the game. The launch of the new video board as well. So lots of perfunctory activities prior to the game, and your team seemed to feed off that emotion and really never let down.
Well, you're out there warming up, and you look in the stands, and it's it's a sea of red out there, and tremendous crowd, and yeah, they were jazzed about it, and great opponent, and the whole environment was what it's all about.
Well, let's take a look at the highlights. The Mules and Northwest Missouri, 10,372 in attendance. The Mules with the opening kickoff, and so the Mules get the first crack at Northwest. And there was a little bit of a feeling out period, I guess, Coach, early in this game, but the key was, as your team moved the ball, Northwest moved the ball a little bit, when you did have to release it, you had Matt Jordan punting it, and he ended up being the conference special teams player of the week and the D2Football.com National Special Teams Player of the Week. And that was actually big early in this game.
No question about it. Matt had, I think, 5 punts inside the 20, 3 inside the 10, and 2 inside the 2. So we controlled the field position part of the game, that's for sure.
We're going to see some excitement here from Levance Taylor on a third down play midway through the first quarter. There goes Levance. Camera guy's excited too. 62 yards for the touchdown as he cut that pass out in the flat. Terrific speed down the field.
Yeah, that highlight doesn't do that justice. He had took the screen pass out there, and a couple guys had angles. They had no chance.
Looked like it was in fast forward when they showed the replay on Mule Vision. There's Colt Smith getting his first start as a Mule. Big guy, 6'5", 240, but he can move those feet too.
Yeah, he's pretty mobile back there, surprisingly. But you know, he's a big guy, can see over the line, and does a good job distributing the ball.
And there's Levance again. He had a big game, averaging 98 yards a game, rushing through 2. There's a reverse play to Ralph Watson. Gets a great block down the field there, and picks up some big yardage for you in the first quarter.
We really spread it around. A lot of kids had touches, and we got a lot of good skill kids. So that's the way we'd like to do it.
And there you see Coulter Smith firing a completion over the middle to David Cannon, who had a big game. Ronry Lloyd as well, involved in a lot of catches on this particular drive as the Mules successfully moved the ball. David Cannon, 7 catches, had a really big first half.
He did, and you know, we missed him in the first game. He came back, had a great game in second game.
So the Mules answer a score from Northwest. There's Anthony Kirkwood, his first of 2 touchdown receptions on the afternoon, just a sophomore from out of St. Louis. And at this point, it's 14-7, Central Missouri with the lead. Northwest trying to make something happen here, and there's an interception by Joe Carter, the MIAA Defensive Player of the Week. 13 tackles and this big interception.
Yeah, Joe was really opportunistic. We kind of saw what we felt like Joe was capable of doing, and had his biggest game under the brightest lights.
So the Mules have that lead at this point, and they turn that into 3 points to take a 17-7 lead. There's Clayton Cooper, another sophomore, doing a great job of fielding punts and just getting you in good position to get this offense on the field.
Yeah, Coop's steady back there, and he's also, if you give him a crack, he's got great speed too.
And there's Colt Smith. You know, the other thing we remarked about with Colt at 6'5", 240, when he does run, he's hard to bring down.
Yeah, he's a good-sized guy out there. Not many kids at this level play quarterback at his size.
So the Mules up 17-7, under a minute to go in the first half. There's Kadarius Green, redshirt freshman from Vianney High School, playing corner with the interception. We slowed that down about 50 times, by the way. It was a tremendous play. Got his hands under it, got the catch. Here's a rocket screen. Again, we're under 30 seconds here in the first half, so your guys showed some good poise at this point late in the second quarter.
Yeah, that was huge. Defense got us the ball back, and we took advantage of it, and that's what you have to do in games like this. Great catch right there.
Yeah, how about that catch and pass? Ralph Watson, the junior from the junior Colt Smith, and now it's 24-7. What a turnaround there with that last score, and that takeaway turned into points.
Yeah, the kids were ready and got the ball back, and that was very gratifying to see that.
24-7, you see there, that was our score as we go into the third quarter, and there's Colt Smith. Great play action as he hits his target down the field. I tell you, Colt is really good selling those play action fakes.
Yeah, he does the little things well. He really prepares himself. He's a true student of the game, and really paid off on Saturday, that's for sure.
There's Ronry Lloyd, junior from out of Snow Junior College, same place Colt came from. Those guys hook up for some big receptions in this contest.
Yeah, Ronry, it was good to see him really come alive in this game as well.
And there's Kirkwood with his second touchdown. 4 touchdown passes again for Colt Smith, the MIAA Offensive Player of the Week, 2 of them to Anthony Kirkwood as the Mules sweep those conference honors. At this point, it's 31-7, Central Missouri with the lead. Now here's Colt showing his strength and poise. Bearcats go for a sack, don't get it. Instead, it's a completion to David Cannon.
Yeah, I got the ball out of the end zone. That was a big play there, so we had some room to punt.
And the Mules, again, with a nice catch by Cannon. Again, the All-American from out of St. Louis and Hazelwood East with 7 receptions on the day. We've got to talk about your offensive and defensive lines, though. I thought they were really the key to victory.
Yeah, we played pretty physical in there, particularly on the defensive line. Those guys, when you hold a team like Northwest under 100 yards rushing, usually means you're playing well up front.
So there you see the final numbers. Mules defeat Northwest, the number 3 Bearcats, 31-21, 10,372 in attendance. It was UCM's first win over the Bearcats since 2003 and the highest ranked opponent a Mules team has ever defeated at Walton Stadium Kennedy Field. Colt Smith threw 4 touchdown passes. He was the conference Offensive Player of the Week in his first career start. Joe Carter had 13 tackles and an interception. He was the MIAA Defensive Player of the Week. Matt Jordan punted 8 times, had 5 down to inside the 20 to earn MIAA Special Teams Player of the Week honors and D2Football.com National Special Teams Player of the Week honors as well. The Mules are 1-1, 1-1 in the league as well after facing the toughest opening 2-week schedule in all of Division II football. And you mentioned it, before the game on the radio. Bill Turnage, who hosted this show for many years, said if we can hold Northwest to under 100 yards rushing, we'll win. And Hass and I laughed at him. Yeah, we will, thinking that we'd take 150. Well, your defense held them to 80. Last year, just to put it in perspective, Northwest ran for 308 against the Mules. So kudos to Matt Jeter and that entire defensive staff and those student athletes. They were sensational. Yeah, defensive staff did a great job. Kids played hard, and when you can limit the rushing yards, it does so much for you. If they're running the ball on you, they're taking time off the clock. They're taking the ball out of your hands on offense, and so it was big for them to do that. Offensively, tremendous tempo from your team. They were prepared. They knew where to be. It was just a very crisp showing from your offense all day. Yeah, I was really impressed with our kids because in reality, as you mentioned, we did control the tempo. That's part of our objective. We do a lot of different things to help us accomplish that. But if you notice the Northwest defense, not very many times were they real settled before the snap. And again, they were trying different things, so our kids were seeing a lot of things in terms of blitzes and line games and so forth, and really maintain their poise. And that's one of the things we felt like we needed to make a quantum leap in terms of our first game, and really from last year even, is playing more poised. Let's look at this win from a little bit more of a global perspective. Your program overall, now in your 3rd season as head coach, you've now knocked off all the big boys in the league. Obviously Central Missouri is one of those, but Northwest was the last remaining big boy that was on the board, so to speak. I know this year your team is focused on themselves and not who they're playing or who they're defeating, just that opponent that week. But overall for your program, how big is that win? Well, I think it's really significant, and here's why. Obviously, I don't think there's a more storied Division II program, at least in recent history, than Northwest Missouri. So, in as much as it is a physical, block, sort of, it's a psychological block as well. And I sort of feel bad for the kids the last couple of years, because we were actually in position to win a couple of those games that we played against them. And where it shows up is things like red zone and just opportunities where, near miss type things. This Saturday we didn't have any of those. We capitalized. This focus on the opponent as just an opponent and really on yourselves and improving, that kind of goes both ways. On one hand, it's nice you're not thinking about facing the ghosts of those past Northwest teams, but then when you defeat one of those teams, you have to get ready to play opponent number 3, regardless who it is. Have you addressed that with the squad at all, or is that something you will talk about? Well, right away. I think our kids get it, because of that. Everybody was feeling pretty good after that win, but it wasn't like, the goalposts were coming down like you might expect after 9 years and so forth, and knocking off the 3rd-ranked team, and so it was about right. You want them to feel good about it. You want them to be excited because of how they played more than anything else. And then 24 hours, let's get back to business, and that's what I've seen out of them. Here's a tough question to answer. I know that, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I mean, the emotion, the energy, the enthusiasm from your team from the opening kick until the final horn was clear for everybody that was in attendance. How do you bottle that? Is there a way you can bottle that? Because I know it comes down to execution, but emotion does play a role. I thought it did on Saturday. How do you keep that emotional wave rolling? I think it's totally it on game day. And one of the things we try to emphasize is really, your preparation is the important thing. On Saturday, what you want to do is turn the switch on and just go play and not have a lot of conscious thought, fly around and really have fun, be in a good mood to play. You're only guaranteed 10 of these things in the regular season, unless if you encounter an injury or something. So you really just want to embrace it. We talked about that. It's going to be a great crowd. This is a big time game, and you don't want to be afraid of that. That's why you practice. That's why you do all those things, playing games like that. So be grateful for it. And it's quite interesting because the shoe will be on the other foot, so to speak, coming up this week as we go to St. Charles to take on Lindenwood. We played them in non-conference action last year. They got up 14-3. We ended up winning 47-28, scoring 28 unanswered in the 3rd. But they're a proud program. They're invested. They've got great facilities, great school. They see us as a big barometer. They're going to be as pumped up to play the Mules as we were to play Northwest. So in some regard, as the visitor, the shoe will be a little bit on the other foot this week.
Well, that's good for us, and our players are aware of that. It was that way last year. I think they touted it as one of the, or if not the biggest game in the history of the football program there, and that's saying something because they had a lot of success at the NEI level. So, that tradition means a lot to them. They're a proud program. They're approaching it like it is a great opportunity. That's good for us. We know they're going to be ready, and so our kids are going to be ready.
What excites you the most entering week 3 after what you've seen from week 1 to week 2?
Just the workman-like mentality of our players. It's like I said, it's about right. They're really preparing themselves well. You don't want them too high during the week. You don't play on Tuesday or Wednesday. You want to really prepare on those days and then have them be excited for game day. So I really think we have a nice feel on the team in terms of camaraderie. We've done some things with our leadership council that have really paid dividends, I think. So I would say there's a really a high level of focus and understanding what they need to do to play their best football.
And one thing about it, it's a very difficult schedule, and Lindenwood's included in that. We talk so much about Western and Northwest being nationally ranked and being premier teams in the MIAA, but Lindenwood, we saw last year, which in some regards probably good that we played them. We saw how skilled they are. They've got a running back that's exceptionally fast, terrific player. They've got some great receivers, quarterback, etc. So we know we're going in to face a very good opponent coming up this week.
Clearly, they're dangerous, and anytime you face a team that they're confident for their own reasons, they're dangerous. So obviously we're going to have to play really good football to be successful in this game, and so there's no illusions of taking this opponent lightly.
And it's interesting too because it's also a big game for Central Missouri. We will have a big road crowd there. I was pleasantly surprised last year by how many folks were there to cheer on the Mules, but St. Louis is such a big market for University of Central Missouri in general for our student population and also on our football team. You guys have really hit St. Louis in your 3 years, and a bunch of those kids we talked about scoring those touchdowns, the Ralph Watsons, the Anthony Kirkwoods, Kadarius Green with the interception, Ralph Watson, the list goes on and on. Those guys are St. Louis kids. David Cannon.
Right. Yeah, there's a connection there. Sometimes we got to hold them back a little bit. So I mean, that's another reason why I think we'll be pretty excited for this game too because of that connection.
No show next week because next Thursday, the 20th, we'll be hosting Truman at 7 o'clock at Walton Stadium, Kennedy Field, in the CBS Sports Network NCAA Division II National Game of the Week. It'll also be televised here on KMOS. I know right now, this moment, that's not a thought, but that's going to be a quick turnaround from a Saturday night road game to a Thursday night game. So the focus this week for the guys is going to have to be really, really good following the Lindenwood game.
Yeah, we've talked about it as a staff. We've already made plans in terms of how we're going to approach that, and it's different. I mean, we've actually done it here at Central already. In my first year, after our first game, we had a short week and had to travel a long way. So there's certain considerations. You want to make sure that they're healthy and feeling fast and refreshed for the game. So you are limited. Clearly, it's 2 days earlier, and typically those are your padded days. So you probably go into that week with a non-padded mentality and just so they're ready and fresh and rehabbed from. What will be a tough game on Saturday. Well,
congratulations on the win over Northwest. We will not talk to you next week, but we will see you. You will be on KMOS TV. You will be nationally televised on CBS Sports Network. Looking forward to that. Best of luck at Lindenwood. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Coming up next on Sportspage, we'll get to know Mules senior defensive end David Bax. And our spotlight on the Jefferson City Helias product is next here on KMOS TV.
KMOS TV invites you to the second annual UCM's Got Talent, where the students are the stars of the evening. Enjoy talented UCM students as they express their creativity for your enjoyment, while competing for your vote to be the 2012 winner of UCM's Got Talent. Join us on the lawn at Selmo Park on the UCM campus on Friday, September 21st. For tickets, call KMOS TV at 1-800-753-3436 or visit us on our website at kmos.org.
I choose to be independent, to blaze my own trail.
I choose what to create, how to organize, and where to share.
I choose what it means to be a change maker. I choose who to root for, who to work for, and who to care for. I choose red to broaden my world.
I choose red to discover my hidden potential.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose red.
The big thing with the KMOS Ready to Learn program isn't just you know, come watch our shows, but then they want you to turn it off and read a book. My source for quality children's education is KMOS TV.
Let's start a riot, let's start a riot. Let's start a riot, let's start a riot.
We have said it all year, there is just something special, amazing about this team.
Thank you for watching KMOS Channel 6.1, Sedalia, Warrensburg.
And welcome back to the Central Missouri Sports Page here on KMOS TV, Missouri PBS. In this segment of the show, we shine the student-athlete spotlight on Mule's senior defensive end, David Bax.
I started playing football when I was in 6th grade. Didn't know what it was like, and I thought, you know, go out and try this, start playing, and sure enough, still playing it today. My relationship with my coaches are great. You know, they're there for me every day if I need anything to talk to them, especially just to go in and talk about football, go over my game planning for the next game. They're always there to help me and just about help me with anything. A typical practice looks like, you know, start off by stretching, warming up and all that stuff. Then we go into a special team. I'm on 2 of the special teams that we do, and then we go into our game planning, start going against the scouts against the next opponent we have on Saturdays, and that's basically it. My playing style would be described as tenacious. You know, I like to, you know, if I make a good play, I like to get up and celebrate it if I make a good play, and I just play with great tenacity. Each game I prepare myself. I usually put my headphones on, listen to my music that I like to listen to before each game, and just go through my plays, my keys, what I read, and what I have to do for each and every play I go out on the field and play. I just sit there and focus on that, and that's a big deal for me and how I play. I'm from Jefferson City, Missouri, and the reason I chose UCM was just for the great fan base, the atmosphere. They have a great football program here. Just the coaching staff that was here, I really liked, and that's the reason I came to UCM. I played at Southeast Missouri State in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and decided I didn't want to play there anymore and wanted to transfer here, and thought this was a better place fit for me. I mean, you can't look forward down to the later games, but each week we're going to prepare the same way, and I think the rest of the season looks good if we just play the way we can play and do our own job and play fast and play physical. I think we're going to come out successful. I do consider myself a leader on this team just by the way I play my games, the way I come out to practice and influence other people on the way I practice, and just by how I go about my daily business. My major is construction management, and I plan to go work for a big construction company, become a general contractor, and we'll see how that works out. My biggest influence to keep playing football was probably my dad. There was a time in high school where it was tough, but you know, he just talked me through it, and I just kept playing with it. He was also a football player, and he just was a big influence on the way I am today and the way that I keep playing football.
Bax was an honorable mention All-MIAA selection last year, and the senior had a big game in the big win against Northwest with 4 stops, a tackle for loss, and 2 big pass breakups. Coming up next on Sports Page, we'll take a look back at how Central Missouri's fall sports teams performed this past week, and we'll visit with Jenny's volleyball coach, Flip Piontek. All of that's on the way when Sports Page continues right after this.
I choose to accomplish my goals.
I choose to follow through to finish my degree.
I choose a university that's convenient and close to home.
I choose Red to transfer my credit hours without any hassles.
I choose Red to graduate on time.
The University of Central Missouri Summit Center in Lee Summit has academic programs designed to help you finish your degree and discover your potential. Learn more at choosered.ucmo.edu.
KMOS TV invites you to the second annual UCM's Got Talent, where the students are the stars of the evening. Enjoy talented UCM students as they express their creativity for your enjoyment, while competing for your vote to be the 2012 winner of UCM's Got Talent. Join us on the lawn at Selmo Park on the UCM campus on Friday, September 21st. For tickets, call KMOS TV at 1-800-753-3436 or visit us on our website at kmos.org.
PBS means to me it's a window into America and communities around the world. I'm Edward James Olmos. PBS is my source for exploring and sharing new worlds and new ideas.
When you support your PBS station, you support possibilities. You're making sure there is a source for independent voices, ideas, and perspectives. You're opening children's minds and giving everyone the chance to find inspiration from the arts, to discover more, be more. Support possibilities. Support KMOS.
You're watching KMOS Channel 6.1.
And once again, thanks for watching Sports Page here on KMOS TV. Coming up in just a moment, we'll visit with Jenny's volleyball coach, Flip Piontek. But first, let's take a look at how the Mules and Jennies performed this past week. And we start with the Jennies soccer team. The Gens were ranked 7th in the country as they headed north to face some tough regional competition last weekend. On Thursday, the Gens got a goal from Becky Lackey to defeat the University of Mary 1-0 in Bismarck. Then on Saturday, the Gens battled Minot State to a scoreless draw. The Gens are 3-0-1 on the young season. They are ranked 8th this week in Division II. The 10th-ranked Mules golf team took 3rd place at the Pittsburgh State Invitational this past Monday and Tuesday. Travis Mays, a freshman, and Mason Good from here in Warrensburg finished the event at 5 over par and in a tie for 8th. The Jennies golf team competed for the first time as UCM's 17th intercollegiate sport last Sunday and Monday at the UNK Women's Fall Classic in Axtell, Nebraska. The Jennies finished in 5th. They were led by freshman Kayla Temple's 11th place finish. The UCM cross-country team opened their season last Friday, hosting the UCM Mule Run at Keth Memorial Golf Course. The Mules won the event with Adam Treadway finishing in 4th place. The Jennies finished 2nd with Casey Hessian pacing the team with a 3rd place showing. The 3-time defending MIAA champion Jennies volleyball team has faced some of the top competition in the nation to open their 2012 season. Joining us now to talk things over is head coach Flip Piontek. Flip, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Sean. Appreciate it.
Well, you lost some of the most, illustrious players in the great history of Jennies volleyball this past year and some unbelievable All-Americans. But the thing about being a member of the Jennies volleyball program is, despite those heavy losses, the expectations are still to be an outstanding team.
The expectations are always there, yes. There's a kind of a history of that at this program. And, when when I took the job, I knew full well what I was getting involved in, so it wasn't any surprise. And the changes are kind of a good thing for me. It's really interesting this year. So
well, we'll talk about the wholesale changes. It's not just the program; it's the conference and the region too. We'll get to that a little bit later. But you're coming off back-to-back regional titles, back-to-back MIAA titles. We talk about the losses of some amazing seniors. You still got a core there, though. You've got a core group that's participated in these MIAA champion seasons.
Yes, and remember that the team is built around the concept of what the team as a whole is trying to accomplish. So even though there were players last year on the team who didn't get a lot of time on the court, their role in the preparation of the starters last year to get us where we ended up last year was very significant. And so as those roles change, the overall team concept is the same. So, if you looked at our team, you'd say, well, Brady and Julia they're doing the same thing. Well, really, they're not. I mean, Brady's role, it's like changing from a 3 to a 4 in basketball. I mean, her role is different enough where it's caused her a little bit of problems. And Julia, as the setter, she had a luxury of setting a multitude of hitters last year. There's been times she looks over at Chrissy, who's the kind of the setting coach for us, and she goes, any one of these guys I'm particularly supposed to set first? And so it's been a growing process for everybody right now.
Yeah, Allie Huffman, 4-time All-American for you at outside hitter. She's a GA for me now, so that's good for me, but not for maybe for Julia volleyball.
Actually, it works okay for me too, because I don't know if you've looked out your window periodically, but she's been on the practice court down there a couple times as my volunteer assistant down there.
Anything we can do to help the program. How would, with so many new players and folks being moved around, what is the identity right now in the early going of this team?
If I had to pick one thing that's the problem for our team right now, and it's really a problem that's being, I don't know if it's exacerbated, but I'm not really helping it any, because in previous years by this time, I mean, we're 40 games into the season, and I would have had a set lineup and been happy, and we would be tweaking rather than still experimenting. And unfortunately for this team right now, we have not come up with a set lineup that the coaching staff is happy with right now. So that's not helping the players develop an identity for this team. We have terrific talent out there, and if you watch the match on Tuesday night against Rolla, a couple of the freshmen are out there doing a wonderful job, but trying to get those freshmen into the situation and then trying to develop a team. We've played 40 sets this year, and we've scored more than 19 points. So we've been 20 points or more in 36 out of those 40 sets. So we're in every game. And I really want that team to be able to now control the tempo of the games we play, to control the action rather than just react. And so they're learning. And like I said, I'm making it a little hard on them too by not putting the same 6 kids out there every day.
Well, one thing that goes back to your mentor, Peggy Martin, I always start with a very challenging non-conference schedule. And you've done that. You went to Pensacola, took part in the West Florida tournament, and then you went to Colorado for the Colorado Premier Challenge. You're talking about most everybody you're playing is a top 10 program. You take Tampa, the number 2 team in the nation, to 5. You won a couple in both events against ranked opponents. So overall, considering the level of competition you face with a lot of new faces, how do you feel?
Even after we played West Florida and we beat them relatively easily on their court, we go, that's a pretty good team we just played. And then eventually the next weekend in Colorado, West Florida beats Tampa, the team that we lost to in 5. So yes, as it's turned out, 7 of our 8-9 matches now have been against teams that are ranked in the top 21 in the country. So with the young team and the team that's still trying to search for its character, at where we are right now, I'm very happy with what we're doing and how the players are playing so hard and they trying so hard, and they know the players that didn't play much last year and the incoming freshmen, they knew the level of competition that they were going to face. And for me, the level of competition that they're going to see in our conference is so strong, and if we're lucky enough to make it to the regional tournament this year, the region is going to be so strong that it's just not fair to them to all of a sudden at the end of the season expose them to that level of play without some background experience early on in the year. So it's a tough pill early in the season to go face all those teams with those young kids out there, but they're doing a great job. And I think it will benefit us in the long run.
9 matches in, you're 6-3 against these outstanding opponents. Only one of them at home. That was Tuesday. You hosted Missouri S&T in the home opener. A great crowd. New video boards fired up. You got the UCM Media Network at KMOS there doing the webcasts and all that. Kind of a big-time environment for that non-conference opener, huh?
It was awesome. And, it made me think about Peggy a lot when we were doing that match, because for her the growth of that sport of volleyball from just kind of an auxiliary sport on campuses, it was basketball and football in those days, and what she envisioned for that sport was it to go from Garrison Gym on the side corner over there to the main court in the multi with the TV. I really thought about her a lot at that match. It was really cool. It was a terrific environment. Almost overwhelming for the players and the coach.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the other thing, it was typical of this team because you got the opponent's best shot. I think they felt that too, the big crowd, the video board, all the cameras and everything going, and you got their best shot, but you were able to grind it out. And this kind of seems like it's going to be a grinded out kind of team.
If you had to pick like I said, we've not been blown out in any game. Well, 3 games this year out of our 40 games. So, for us, the team never stops. They never give up. They keep working hard. They don't make too many mistakes, and they never put themselves in a position to not have a chance to win. And that's what we did. And so by allowing themselves to be in a position to win, they were able to win all 3 sets last Tuesday. So that was pretty significant for us.
Well, let's go back to a key point too. The Jennies actually trailed in match 1, 24-22. Hillary McCormick and Aubrey Renshaw got you going then with back-to-back points. You end up winning that 29-27.
29-27. And you would think, let's just, again, you can't put last year's identity on this team, but after that emotional win, you're thinking that you're going to get a big lead in the next game and run away with it. And we did get a big lead, but we didn't run away with it. And that's what I want this team to be able to do, to say, okay, now we've taken this, we've won, and now in our own way, whatever that ends up being, once we get that 18-11 lead in game 2, I want to just continue to push and let the other team know that we're controlling the tempo of the game. And we let them back into it. And it made that game a very interesting game, and it made by them being so close in that second game when we had a chance to kind of put the match away, that set up a pretty interesting third game too.
And you've got some youngsters that are really stepping up. Freshman Carly Soika had 10 kills. Freshman libero Annie Riley had 13 digs. And these are freshmen, and that's a big environment, and they're playing in some big matches.
True freshmen. And those 2 freshmen came from high schools and clubs that really prepared them for what they were going to do. Those 2 players are, if you can say that as freshmen, they're very experienced volleyball players, and their volleyball IQ is very high, and actually they're very helping. They're helping the team a lot, and the only difficult part is they're freshmen and they're trying to find out what their actual role in the team chemistry is. So it's a very interesting dynamic right now.
And we've mentioned Brady Peniston, the All-American. We're going to spotlight her a little bit later in the show. And great student athlete, Julia Bates, who's a setter, who's been a setter since a freshman, now a junior. And but also you can't forget Taylor Goodness. I think she's going to be a real key to this team and her ability to adjust to the new team around her and her new role on this squad.
And she does have a different role. And in general for her, what she brings is, in volleyball, it's like any sport. You want the person to terminate the play, and when you set her, the play's going to be over one way or the other. And what she's doing is developing a feel for how she can do that best in the context of this team.
Julia Bates, something Coach Martin used to always tell me, the setter's a quarterback. She loves football. So the setter is the quarterback. To have a third-year setter now, a junior, now an upperclassman, how big is that with the new players around her?
I don't think we could put as many young players on the court and add a young setter into that mix. No, Julia right now, and it's very difficult for her, but what she's providing is the glue that's allowing all the pieces to kind of stay together on the court, because it is a struggle sometimes trying to figure out, in volleyball, each of the different serve-receive plays, and in transition you have certain preferences that you develop over the course of the year, and we're struggling to find those preferences right now, and she's doing a wonderful job in terms of helping the hitters by putting them in a position that they can have success, and that's a very difficult job.
Tuesday also marked the 1,000th win in program history as you won the match 3-0. We'll see that graphic in a minute. But 1,000th NCAA win. There have been many more than that. Peggy won more than that here, but that goes back to the AIAW days. And this is the number that strikes me, Flip. The program is 1,220 in MIAA matches. That's unbelievable.
You know, I don't. You really have to look back again. We're talking about Peggy and her role in the development of volleyball as a sport, not just at this school, but in the MIAA, in the nation, in terms of, look what she's doing right now at Spring Hill College. She's turned that program around in the 4 years she's been there. So her role in terms of developing a program that can have success from year to year. And there's lots of schools that you can have success for 1 year or two, and then when those players are gone, it doesn't carry over. If you remember at the Mule Train on Monday, I thought it was very significant that Lewis mentioned, Coach Theobald, mentioned that he was very happy that his former players knew who the incoming freshmen were. But that he thought it was as important that his incoming freshmen knew who the older players were. And that's what we do. I think that's such a significant part of the education and the growth of players at this institution, that when you have programs that can develop that, you can have success from year to year with different players in the same team, in the same role, but with the same kind of goals at the end of the season. So.
And now, to be fair, it's going to be harder than ever to have success. And here's why. The MIAA is new. We've added, for example, Nebraska Kearney. They've been one of the elite programs in the nation. They're ranked #1 in the nation. They went 29-2 last year. Yeah. So we add Nebraska Kearney. We join the Central region. Only one team gets out of a region. 8 get into the tournament, but that includes Concordia St. Paul. What have they won? 4 or 5 straight NCAA national championships. Minnesota Duluth, Minnesota State, and others. You're talking about realistically, what, 7, 8 of the top 10 teams in the country in the Central region now?
Right now, there are 8 teams in the top 13 teams in the country in our region. So yes, the region is very difficult. And like I said, that would be a reason why you would want to play difficult teams at the beginning of the season, because the level of competition, when you add a team that was 29-2 to the conference, they're currently ranked #1 in the country. We currently have 3 teams in the top 5 in the country right now. I mean, I don't know what else you want from our conference. So the conference, the region, it's terrific volleyball. And so you don't want to shy away from that, but you do want to prepare the players for what the potential level of competition would be. So we try to do that. Hopefully it'll work.
Well, conference play gets underway in earnest this weekend because you're going to play on the road Friday. Not a long trip, but on the road Friday at SBU, and then back at home on Saturday to take on Lindenwood. And it doesn't matter. The 3-time MIAA champs, the 2-time regional champs are coming to Bolivar. They're going to be fired up and ready for you.
Correct. And Bolivar actually just got off. You know, they played a tournament at their home. And if you watched Missouri S&T on Saturday, you know, that's a 4-4 team. You go, golly, how good can they be at 4-4? Well, they were 0-4 the first weekend, played at home, won 4 matches, and felt pretty good about themselves, and they played very well. And we're going to play a team at SBU that just won the last 2 games that they played at home, and they're going to feel good about themselves, and they don't make a lot of mistakes. It'll be a good volleyball match on Friday.
Well, and then Lindenwood comes in to the multi. That's Saturday at 3. So if you're in the area and you're not going over to watch the football game, come out to the multi, watch the Jennies at 3 o'clock, take on Lindenwood. And I know as a coach you're familiar with them in terms of film and things, but it's still a new opponent in the MIAA for everybody.
Yes, but if you remember, we played them last year with that in mind, knowing that they were going to come into the conference. So we wanted some familiarity with them. So last year they came to the multi, we had them come. This year we're home and away with them. So it would be very interesting. We do have some familiarity with them. They're very nice, very solid team. So.
Want to congratulate you too. You won your 100th a couple of matches ago. You're now 102-18 as the Jennies head coach, which is sensational. And obviously our media relations staff works for me, and those guys do an amazing job. They'll find every positive nugget. Greg Gorham says Flip Piontek's the fastest coach to 100 wins in Jennies volleyball history, and I love your response. Well, there's only been 2 of us, and they used to play 12 matches a year when they started, but still, that's very cool. Congratulations. Off to a great start.
It is very nice. It's good recognition for the program as a whole. And, you know, when I talked to the team afterwards, I said, you know, it may have been 100 for me, but for Jennies volleyball, that was win 1279, and I think that puts it in context in terms of where we are as a program.
And you may not know off the top of your head, but have you ever figured out roughly how many of all the wins you've been a part of, going back to what, 87 when you came here as an assistant?
86 and first year I was here, yes. And I did it one time, I don't remember, but it was significant. 700, more than 700 of them. I remember that when we got here, my wife Stacy and I were planning the ball for 400. So we went from 400 to 1,100 in the time I was here, so it must have been a little bit more than 700. So,
well, congratulations on the win against Missouri S&T on your 100th, on a good start to the season considering the competition. We're going to have you on again here real soon.
Good, appreciate it, Sean. I look forward to it. Thank you.
In just a moment on Sportspage, we'll get to know Jenny's senior middle hitter Brady Peniston. That's next right here on KMOS TV.
This fall on PBS. They had come to the far edge of the Great Plains in search of a new beginning, in the last place in America where a family could claim a homestead and build a future.
We had the best crop that we had had in 1929, and everything was looking up.
A sea of grass, once the domain of Indians and buffalo, disappeared beneath the blade of a plow.
I saw the whole country transformed in the sunset glow. All the brown prairie turned to gold.
But then, it was as if the land rejected them. The rains stopped, and the winds came.
We saw this cloud coming in, black dirt. And I'll never forget my grandmother, she said, "You kids run and get together, the end of the world's coming."
It came like a black wall, a tide of destruction that crashed over the broken plains, choking the life out of everything in its path.
You never really escaped the dust. It always found its way in, and that's, I think, what drove people crazy.
Some would pull up stakes and move on, but most stayed, always looking to the promise that next year would be better.
We were just too selfish, and we were trying to make money, and it didn't work out.
Ken Burns tells the story of a generation that was buried, and what it took to dig out. The Dust Bowl.
You're watching KMOS Channel 6.1, Sedalia, Warrensburg.
Compared to last year is a lot different. People notice there's 4 people missing from last year's team. So we got a lot of new girls, but still the talent's there. It's just getting that chemistry back, and coaches haven't really changed anything, still pushing us to be the best we can, playing tough teams at the beginning of the season because they know we can do it, and we proved we can play with the best. So just pretty much same, just new faces on the court and learning to work together. So far this year has been really good. We had 2 tough tournaments at the beginning of the year, all ranked teams that we played pretty much, but showed a lot of potential in all the games, and still some learning. We learned a lot from them and took some stuff away from it, but definitely a good start for this team. Personally, it's been definitely a different experience. I've had to step up. We had 4 strong leaders the past couple years, and so I've just always done my role, and so my role has completely changed, but I feel like I've been doing my best to step into that position and be the leader on the court and off the court for the new girls and show them what the Jenny's program is about. But as far as playing, I always give 110%, and that's all I can do for my team, I guess. He's always been like a dad. I think he is. All the girls would say that, so we can go to him with anything, but as far as this year, I've had more responsibility, so yeah, he does come to me, and there's a lot more relaying I have to do to the team and stuff, but still same relationship, just more responsibility on my part, I guess. Our potential this year is just still a national championship, or that's what our goal is. First goal is to get the conference championship, and then regionals, and then national. That hasn't changed. Even though it was a different start just because it's all new faces on the court, I don't think we still have the high potential. We got a lot of talent, a lot of new girls that have brought a lot to this team. So just getting that chemistry and the same flow we've always had and the same confidence as past years, we can go just as far and hopefully even farther than we've been able to the past couple years. So definitely eye on the prize for the championship. As far as the season, like conference is what we have a lot of games coming up. There's a lot of new teams in our conference. Washburn's always the biggest rival. I'm always excited for that game, and I think our whole team is, just because biggest rival, and we've always been close for the championship with them. So definitely excited to play them and see how we can prove that we can hold up with them still, because they were ranked first for the season poll. So got to prove to them that we can still hold our place. And so I think after that it'll be a good boost, but all the teams are very competitive this year, so I'm excited to see where we go. Started volleyball when I was in 7th grade. I peer pressured into trying out with my friends. I was a big basketball player, so this was just something to do in the fall, and ended up loving it. In high school, my coach convinced me to play club, so I tried out for a club team, kind of got more involved with it. Junior year, took it a little more serious, and then senior year is when I was really passionate about it and wanted to be able to play in college. And so when I first came to UCM, it was like welcoming. They were so welcoming. The coaches were awesome. The girls were so inviting. I wasn't intimidated by them. I just felt at home when I walked on campus and just meeting everybody and meeting the team. And it was a different experience than some other schools and stuff. So just felt at home and very at peace about it. So my mom's always supported me in everything. She's at every single event. Well, both my parents are. They come to every game I've ever played when I've been frustrated with the sport. They've pushed me and told me just keep working harder and get through it, or there's always a bright side. So my parents have definitely always been there for me, and big inspiration, and hard work can get you anywhere you want.
The two-time All-American from Wichita, Kansas is not only a leader on the floor, but also in the classroom, where she boasts a 3.6 GPA in physical education. In just a moment, we'll tell you where all the Mules and Jennies are competing this weekend as Sportspage rolls on after this timeout.
I choose to finish what I start.
I choose to accomplish my goals.
I choose red to make my family proud.
I choose red because I can take classes that work around my schedule.
I choose red to advance my career.
The University of Central Missouri Summit Center in Lee Summit is a convenient location for finishing your degree. Transfer your credits to UCM and finish what you've started. Learn more at ucmo.edu/GoSummit.
Somewhere out there right now is a kid with a great song in his head we've yet to hear, or a story in their heart that is yet to be written. A child that hasn't picked up a camera, but will one day create a film that will change the world. They haven't found their voice yet, but one day they will. They'll have something important to say. And thanks to PBS, there'll be a place for that voice to be heard. That's why I support PBS, and I hope you will too.
Thank you for watching KMOS Channel 6.1, Sedalia, Warrensburg.
For one final time this week, welcome back to Sportspage here on KMOS TV. Before we put the finishing touches on this week's show, let's run down our upcoming schedule of events so you know where to follow the Mules and Jennies. And we start with the Mules football team as they are on the road this Saturday in St. Charles to take on the Lindenwood Lions. Kickoff is set for 6. The UCM Alumni Association will be hosting a pregame tailgate from 4 to 6 just outside Harlan Hunter Stadium. The cost for dinner and non-alcoholic drinks are $10. To RSVP, call Jamie in the UCM Alumni Relations Office at 543-8000. That's 660-543-8000 or RSVP online at ucmo.edu/ST Charles Tailgate. We'll have the broadcast for you as well on Coco 98.5 The Bar, 90.9 The Bridge, and via the internet at warrensburgradio.com. And don't forget, in terms of football, no show next week as we bring you the Mules and Truman next Thursday night at 7 o'clock from Walton Stadium on the UCM campus right here on KMOS TV. In other MIAA games this week, number 1 ranked Pittsburgh State is at SBU. Fort Hays State's at 13th ranked Northwest Missouri. Central Oklahoma is at Emporia State. The Hornets are 2-0. Missouri Southern is at Lincoln. Northeastern State is at 9th ranked Washburn. Nebraska Kearney is at undefeated and 8th ranked Missouri Western in the MIAA TV game of the week. And in non-conference action, our opponent next week, Northwestern Oklahoma, taking on Truman. We'll take on the Bulldogs next week. Truman taking on Northwest Oklahoma in that non-conference game this Saturday in Kirksville. The 8th-ranked Jennies volleyball team will open MIAA play Friday night at 7 in Bolivar against SBU. Then on Saturday, the Gens will host Lindenwood at 3 o'clock at Dr. Peggy Martin Court at the Multipurpose Building. The 8th-ranked Jennies soccer team will take on Fort Hays State Friday night at 6 in Hays. And then on Sunday, the Jennies will battle the Lopers of UNK in Kearney, Nebraska at 1 o'clock. The 10th-ranked Mules golf team will take part in the Brickyard Invitational. That's Monday and Tuesday in Indianapolis. The Jennies golf team will return to the links next Monday and Tuesday as they head to Tahlequah, Oklahoma for the Northeastern State Invitational. And the UCM cross-country teams will take part in the Missouri State Richard Clark Invitational on Saturday in Springfield. And with that, we conclude this edition of the Central Missouri Sports Page. Again, a reminder, next Thursday night, we'll bring you Mules football here on KMOS TV as UCM hosts Truman at 7 at Walton Stadium Kennedy Field on the CBS College Sports NCAA Division II Game of the Week. So our next show will come your way Thursday, September 27th. Until then, for our entire crew, this is Sean Jones saying thanks for watching Sports Page here on KMOS TV, Missouri PBS. Support for Sports Page is provided by Parker's Supermarket and Pharmacy in Warrensburg. Parker's works hard to supply grocery staples and spices to cook Italian, Mexican, Chinese, Indian, and Thai cuisine. The mission at Parker's is to make grocery shopping a welcoming experience for everyone. By First Central Bank, full-service banking from 6 locations in Warrensburg, Holden, Higginsville, and Odessa. More information is available on their Facebook page or at the website firstcentral.net. Member FDIC. And by Union Station, Crossroads to Technology, a one-stop shopping source for technology needs. Campus-compatible computers, software for Mac and PCs, and much more. Located on campus on the lower floor of the Elliott Union in Warrensburg. Union Station, Crossroads to Technology. And promotional support for Sports Page is provided by 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 Cocoa and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics.